Let's go live to Cape Town now. President Cyril Ramaphosa arriving at Tazne van Wyk's family home. Of course, the 8-year-old was found dead last week. She was allegedly killed by a man who was living across the road from her. Let's listen in.
So your equipment here.
What's that?
All right, President Cyril Ramaphosa, of course, will meet with Tazne van Wyk's family. As you know, last week when her body was found, the family was upset because the suspect in this murder case was out on parole. He was actually on the run from police for failing to meet with his parole officers. So the family saying that the justice system has failed them. They called for the president to address the situation. We also know that the Justice and Correctional Services Minister, Ramaphosa, is also at this meeting. The media will not be allowed inside, but we're hoping that the president and the relevant ministers actually do come out to speak to the media after they meet with the family. Our reporter Nobesuthu Hejana is there. She'll join us live a little later on in the bulletin as well. She's been speaking to residents in the area, some of them calling for the death penalty to be brought back. Of course, that is very unlikely to happen in a democratic South Africa. But the president, of course, will hear them out. He'll listen to what residents have to say. I hear people chanting, so let's take a listen to that.
Put up the line now. Can you join the line?
And then? Hey, wow.
Family of Tazne van Wyk. He's now inside the property. He's going to speak to the family. You'll know last week they called for the president to act. That's after it emerged that the suspected killer in this case has been out on parole. Authorities say he was on the run. Officials also saying he was granted parole because he served more than half of his sentence. He was in jail for culpable homicide. Community members now shouting, "We want justice," some of them calling for the death penalty. The president will have a private meeting with the 8-year-old's family. He will then come back outside and hopefully address the media. Justice and Correctional Services Minister Ramaphosa also in that meeting, possibly to reassure the family that this case will be properly handled. Police, of course, on standby. That's as the community members there come out to try to shout whatever they want at the president who has just walked in. Our reporter Nobesuthu Hejana is there. She joins us now live as well. So Nobesuthu, we heard people shout, "We want justice." That's the central theme that we're going to hear this afternoon.
Certainly, Shahan, as you can see earlier, we saw President Cyril Ramaphosa walking in and community members were shouting, "We want justice." And I will try and get a comment from one of the residents just to tell us exactly their feelings and what they would like to hear from President Ramaphosa. As I ask my colleague Lungile Tom to quickly pan as we will be able to speak to this community member. Ma'am, earlier on you were chanting with the rest of the community and asking the president to bring back the death penalty. He has just walked in. Can you just tell us what are you expecting to hear from the president?
I want to hear he must bring in the death penalty because there's too many kids who are dying, in Elsie's River, all over.
I mean, what are
the death penalty, please, a death penalty.
What are some of the issues that this community is facing, and you would like maybe the president to also highlight, if given the opportunity, to speak to the residents?
Crime in the area, crime. The high mousing in Cape Town, crime, drugs, anything.
And we've also seen how the community has come together to ensure, to support the Van Wyk family. How has this death of Tazne affected the rest of the community?
It's a loss for all us in the country. It's a good loss, a very big loss in the country. For a small child, 8 years old, it's a big loss for us in our community. It's a big loss here. We only want justice in our land, justice.
And Shahana, I would also like to bring in few residents who just tell us how they're feeling at this stage. Mama, can you please come forward? Okay, it's a bit of a struggle, Shahan, and the chaos. Some they want to speak, but some are running away from the camera. So I'll ask. So it's a very chaotic scene, Shahan. Let me try and grab this lady. Mama, can you please move this back? Yes. Mama, can you just tell us how you're feeling at this stage? The president is here to see the Van Wyk family.
My brother-in-law's daughter, I feel very sorry because I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't drink because I don't know what he can do. Just to Tazne. I don't know what is wrong, but what was wrong in his mind to take her away from the house and then he go to the place and kill her there because we are very sad there because we are family because we can't sleep even that because why?
Are you family of Tazne or the accused?
Not from Tazne. I'm Tazne's auntie. But I'm very sad.
I know the parents are not speaking to the media at this very point. Can you just paint the picture? How is Carmen at this point? We know that she was
very sick because we take her to the hospital and they give her injection and that she can rest. That's why she's resting in the house there. The police do nothing. The police can't do it. They didn't do enough to look for her because why? The people was looking for another police and the family and the people go to the house where he was stay with her and then he burned that people's house off.
Yeah, Shahan, they're talking about the scenes that we saw on Friday where we saw 3 houses being burnt in Peru. One of the houses, the community believed that it's where 8-year-old Tazne was kept, but we will definitely keep you updated on what is happening here. As soon as we get the president comes out, we'll try to get a comment from him as well as the Minister of Justice, Mr. Ronald Lamula, who also went inside earlier.
So, Nobisucho, of course, we know that the family was waiting for this to happen. Last week, they were sending messages directly to the president about what they say was justice failing them because this man was out on parole. What do they want in terms of the parole system and the way people are granted? We know that some of them were saying that this needs to be reviewed because some people are released without receiving the proper correctional services treatment in prison.
Certainly, Shahan, we spoke to the CPF representative, Ms. Zalda, who was saying that in most of the times, people who are released on parole, community members, they don't really know the extent of their crimes or the crimes that they've committed, and they would like the government to actually inform the residents or the community about the certain individual that is brought back to the community to ensure that they don't commit the same crimes. As in this case, we've seen Muidin Pangagar, who had a very colorful criminal history and was brought back to this community. And we also know that the Justice Department, or rather the Correctional Services Department, was looking for him because he had violated his parole conditions.
So, Nobisucha, I want to try and get you to speak to more residents while I remind our viewers what's happening if they are just joining us. So, this is Tazne van Wyk's family home. The president is currently meeting with the family. He is in Cape Town. You'll remember that the family was unhappy. They say they've been failed by the justice system because the suspected killer in this story was actually out on parole. Correctional Services telling the media last week that he was actually on the run as well. They've been struggling to find him for over a year. It's a story that's dominated the headlines, especially since the 8-year-old was missing for 2 weeks. The man was then arrested in the Eastern Cape in Cradock. And then he was brought back to Cape Town, where he then took police to Tazne van Wyk's body. Let's go back to Nobisutu now, who's speaking to residents.
This point, I'm not blaming the president, but he must open his eyes now and realize what is happening to the children. You see what I mean? Our children can't go to school with bodyguards like them or perfect schools. We must work every night, every day. We must get a nanny, but that nanny don't even look after the child right. You see what I mean? So his eyes must open and see what is coming to him. We can't just blame the president, but he must think what he must do now, because that is not enough. Enough is enough. Maybe tomorrow there's a child missing about 1 year. What are we gonna do? What is he gonna do? You see what I mean? I've got all the child from 9 years old, and I must walk her to school. I must go and fix her. But I mean, what about other children? You see, working, the father's working. No, but there's no money to pay for security or whatsoever. You see what I mean? He must open his eyes now, because it's enough.
Yeah, we heard the president last year saying that the criminal, or rather the list should be made public, especially the sexual offences list. So how are you feeling about people who are released on parole? Do you think they should be given a second chance in the country?
No. Not if they're in for murder or rape. Maybe if I steal your cell phone now, I can come out for parole. But not murder and rape. It doesn't make sense, because he's gonna do it next and next and next, because he knows he come out on parole, and then he's gonna do next because he leave a lekker there inside.
Because
no,
I say he's a
no parole.
You can speak,
I want just to let the president bring the death sentence back for the children, for the murderers, because the children, our month or our year is quiet. It's quiet. So if we just can, the president can bring the death sentence back for our children, because our children is not safe anymore, not even in our own house. So I just want to, even your family, you can trust even your family, because if you give your children to the family, tomorrow they're gone with the children, like this one. So I just want to ask the president to make a change, and we must challenge it. How long that's gonna go on for the children, for us? I just want to ask.
Yeah. All right. Well, Shahan, those are the views from most of community members who are here. Some are pleading with the president to actually bring back the death sentence, and some of them who are saying that their kids are not safe in the streets, with their family members. They have to walk their children to school because they don't trust anyone in the community, just like little Tazne, who was kidnapped while she went to a shop which is literally less than a minute from her house. It's just across the road, but she went missing and no one saw where she had went.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Nobisutu Hejana is in Cape Town, and that, of course, is the situation there where the president is meeting with 8-year-old Tazne van Wyk's family. She, of course, was found murdered, kidnapped and murdered last